Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson down in Kent at Prince's Park, where the Saints unbeaten start to the season, maintained with a 1-1 draw with Dartford. A far more entertaining game, I feel, Ian, for spectators than Saturday's. I thought we looked more threatening going forward than we did, and we ended the game really strongly as well. Are you a bit more upbeat with that?
Yeah, as I said, I said on Saturday I didn't think it was a poor game Saturday. I think it was two sides who didn't want to give anything away, where tonight it was two sides having a go at each other, and I think it was quite open. It was end to end. From the moment they scored the equalising goal, I felt we really went at them and tried to win the game, and it was a bit unfortunate. We got in some really good areas. Our final decision wasn't good tonight, but some of our build-up play and some of the quality we showed was outstanding, and just disappointing for me now that we've come away and we haven't picked up all 3 points.
After failing to score on the opening day at home, it was obviously nice to get that goal, and it's a lovely goal. First of all, the through ball by David Noble, then the finish by Joe Uchifano.
Exactly, and as I say, and that's what we need for Joe. We didn't feel we really give him enough surface on Saturday, and this is why we brought David in the side tonight, because I think he sees them sort of runs, he sees the ability that Joe's got, obviously, and he spins in behind very quickly, and he's very difficult to mark, and he took his goal really well. As I say, we just had 1 or 2 other chances where we just didn't react or weren't on the front foot, and just a shame, as to say, we haven't come away with the extra points today. You
changed it up front tonight, Ian. You put Sam Merson on the bench, so Joe was up there on his own. Then Sam came off the bench, had a fantastic shot, 5-10 minutes from time, hit the underside of the bar, bounced down on the line. Nobody could get there and knock in the rebound.
And that's football, isn't it, at the end of the day? But Sam's got that in him. We know what Sam can do. He scores spectacular goals. The minute it was rolled to his feet and he got it out of his feet, I actually fancied him to score. And I was obviously I am disappointed he's hit the crossbar, but he's only probably an inch or so from going in the top corner. So, as I say, it was a good game. I was really pleased the way we tried to play. Yes, we're going to make mistakes. We know that. We're a very young side this year. Teams are going to cause us problems, and we just got to stay in there. But some of the football we played was very good. We got in some really good areas, and just our final ball, our final decision, just let us down a little bit tonight. But again, we have to go work on that. We'll work on that again on Thursday night, and we'll go to Dulwich in the same frame of mind as we was tonight, that we've got to go and try and win a game of football.
I felt we were stronger defensively today than we were Saturday, and when Dartford got that goal, I couldn't see him getting the goal at that time, and it was a bit of a soft one.
Well, I felt we looked quite comfortable. As I say, we were dealing with the ball into the box. It's a handful with Cunnington. You know what he's going to be like. He's going to put himself around. Every ball that will drop down, you've got to make sure you try and win the seconds. And I felt we did that, and they had a shot, and it didn't seem to be going anywhere, and I think it's gone under or deflected off James Klotsky's foot, and Dean Snedker wasn't ready for it, and he's obviously made the save and pushed it straight back, and the lads reacted quickest. But it was a shame, because I just felt we'd weathered that storm just after half time, and we could go on, and I felt we'd win. If we got a second goal, we'd go on and win the game quite comfortably. Unfortunately, we didn't get the second goal. Unfortunately, they got the goal, and they had a couple of opportunities late on in terms of breakaways. But I was just pleased the way we reacted to go into 1-1, because we could have quite easily folded there, and the reaction to them scoring was that we got on the front foot again and looked to go and win the game. And there was lots of positives in that last 20-25 minutes in terms of us trying to win that game.
One of the noticeable things about the way you're playing this season is you're playing it out from the back, Dean's playing it into the defenders, and you're playing from there. Did hear a couple of times as you're shouting, just put it long, put it long. Is that just a case of players having to learn the right times to play and the right times to get rid?
Yeah, because we're going to have a lot of teams who will try and put a full press on us, and if they do that, then we've got to play it longer. And we've got players that, with the pace that we've got going forward, if teams squeeze up too high and try and put a full press on them, we'll hurt teams going in behind. So we can play it both ways. So it's really, if teams sit off us, then we've got to try and obviously keep it and pass it. If teams put a full press on us, let's go behind them, because, as I say, with the pace we've got going forward, and I think you've seen that in the last 20-25 minutes today, we've got blistering pace, and when you bring Reece Williams and Albert Adu and people like that off the bench, they're as quick as what we're taking off. So lots of options, lots of good options. Just got to get the 1 or 2 injuries back. We've got Tom Bender back now from suspension, and we've got Scotty Short still struggling a little bit with his heel, but we'll be back to an 18-19 man squad by the weekend, which will be good, and which we can pick and choose which players we want to play, and see where we are when we're going forward. But we've got good options on and off the pitch, and we can liven it up, and I felt we livened it up with the substitutions we made today. Reece Morel coming on, Sam Merson came on, and it just made us just slightly more of a threat going in the last 10-15 minutes of that game.
And you've kind of mentioned it, the sort of the decision-making skills that the players need in the modern game. Get them right, and this side, the way they play football, is just going to fly.
Well, I hope so. I mean, obviously you're going to go through a period where the pitches change, but some of the players have got in some unbelievable positions today, and their end product or their final decision hasn't been good enough, and that's probably the reason why we haven't come away with 3 points, because we got in some unbelievable positions, but the final decision, as I say, or the final pass went astray, and that was disappointing, especially in the last couple of minutes when we got the 3-on-2, and Bobson's obviously set Joe up, but the ball wasn't in front of him. He's had to take a touch. And then we've ended up with Taylor having a shot, but again, we should be putting that in the back of the net the way we broke there in that last sort of 10 minutes. So lots and lots of positives. Obviously disappointed we haven't picked up all 3 points, but I'm pleased the boys have stuck to the guns. We asked them to. There's going to be spells where we're going to give it away cheap. There's going to be teams that cause us a problem, as you see with Chippenham did on Saturday in terms of the set pieces. But we've dealt with their set pieces well tonight. It's just unfortunate it was a poor goal for me that we give away. It was one of those where we should defend properly. But again, coming to Dartford is never going to be easy. Before the game, just say you take your point, you probably would have done, but I just felt in the end we could have taken all 3.
A couple of challenges in there, Ian. Be generous to say they were ugly on Darren Foxley and James Colocci. We've seen James's leg after the game. Studs have gone right through his shin pad and down his shin. I could not understand how that was not a red card.
I think it's difficult, as I've said before, David, because if I say anything about the referees, and I get pulled in front of everybody. So I've made my feelings known to the referee. I felt that was an option, that the yellow card was the best option in his eyes. I felt both of them were red cards. As I said, James Kolotski's clearing his lines, and somebody's left their foot on him. And the one tackle on Darren Foxley, I actually think was the worst tackle, because it's a 2-footed tackle. He's left the ground and he's tried to scissor kick him, and for me they're leg breakers. But unfortunately the referees see it slightly different, so we have to take his opinion in the end. But I think that's 2 yellow cards for being the beginning of the season. But both of them could quite easily have been red cards.
Now we move on to Champion Hill, Dulwich Hamlet on Saturday. I believe they won tonight. Yes, apparently they did. They're full time. They've made a good start. It's going to be tough.
Very tough, yeah. But I've said it all along. I'm under no illusions this year that this is going to be a tough league this year. When you see that, Dulwich are full time. Dorking have won again tonight. Havant have won. Maidstone have obviously got beat. So there's games there where there's going to be a tough season. We've said all along is that these teams that are full time are going to cause you problems on the physical side of things. But you've also got teams there that have got some good players, some very, very good players. I think it was Billericay went to Braintree and won 3-2. So again, I'm under no illusions. It's a tough league. Whatever we do this year will be a bonus. I'd like to think that we can improve as the season goes on because of the style of play we've got, the quality of players we've got. But we've got to improve in some areas, because we can't keep getting to the final third and having great options to score goals, and the final pass or the final decision lets us down. So lots of them areas we need to go and work on, which we will do. But as I said, we've got to take each game as it comes. It's a really difficult period in terms of, I think it's 10 games in that first 5 weeks, and then I think we've got to take stock of where we are. Do we need to bring other players in? Do we need to move the squad around? Because football's, if you sit there and don't do anything, it's the merry-go-round, and you'll just get dragged into areas where you don't want to be dragged into. So let's take stock in just after the 7th of September. I think it's going to be around there. Look at what we need. Do we need to bring some players in that's going to improve us, or can we go with the squad again for the next phase, which takes us then to probably the end of October? So big decisions, but at the moment, we are unbeaten. Obviously, I'd like to have won one of the 2 games, because that gives you a little bit more of a cushion. But it's going to be a tough game going to Dulwich on Saturday, obviously, in terms of where we are, what we've got to get right, and obviously the opponents are going to make it as difficult for us as they can. I think they're 6 points out of 6 as well, so it will be a tough game.
Yeah, we're in a funny position, aren't we? If we win Saturday, it's 5 points from the opening 3 games. Everyone will be quite happy with that. If we lose, it's 2 from 3, and everyone's thinking, oh, hello, what's going on?
Well, the important thing is we don't panic, as I said, because we are a very, very young side. Yeah, we've got a couple of old experienced heads in there, but we've got some really young players in. I think you've seen with Solomon and David Lonking, who have come from the league below. Bobson, who was at Torquay last year, obviously got released, went to Oxford, and he's only 23. Darren Foxley's, I think, 21. Joe's 20. So they're all very, very young lads, and we've got to try and improve their performances as well as the team's performances. So some of these players will have some ups and downs because of their age, but if we can stay in behind them, keep working with them, and keep giving them the confidence to go and play football, I've said it there. If they can keep doing what they're doing, they're going to improve as a team. As the season goes on, they'll improve as a team. The main important thing is we don't panic and we don't put pressure on them that will make them give the ball away cheaply. We'll make them make mistakes. We've got to keep encouraging them, keep getting them to want the ball. I just said there, we've just got to make sure that when we get in them areas, we've got to shoot and share all the time. And if we do that, we'll score goals, and we'll take the pressure off the back four. But again, only time will tell in terms of that, because we've got some tough games coming up over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But with what we've got here, I think we've got a squad that's good enough to compete. We've just got to now make sure we take our chances, score the goals, and take the pressure off ourselves by winning games of football.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian, and all the best for Saturday down at Champion Hill. And I say Saints are away to Dulwich Hamlet. Kick-off there, and the National League South match is at 3 p.m.